I changed my mind. I'm not ready.
You're more ready than you thought.
Are we good? Are we good now? Can you hear me?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, it's 4:30 on June 9th, and I'll call to order the special meeting for this afternoon. And if I could call upon Mr. Johnson, please, to open us in prayer.
Let's pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this sunshine that we're seeing this afternoon, for seeing us safely through the storm the last couple of days. Talking to you now in the middle of interesting times. We're traveling down a road we've never been down before, but Father, we know you have, and we know that you're in control. We just ask for your guidance, for your wisdom. Help us to make wise decisions. We love you and we pray in Jesus' name.
Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mine won't stay up. Okay, we have any amendments to the agenda this afternoon?
No, ma'am.
Okay, having no amendments to the agenda, we will move into the action items we have for this afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Agenda item 1, resolution authorizing final action for the refunding of outstanding school warrants. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the final resolution action for the refunding of certain outstanding school warrants as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Lynch, second from Ms. Colley. Is there any discussion or questions?
John, did you want to say anything?
I want to say thank you for everybody meeting and so we can get this final
Thank you.
done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Put this to bed. If everybody will just stay after the meeting, we have a few documents to sign. We'll be in good shape.
All right. Thank you, John. Thank you for all you do.
thank you.
That helps us out. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Agenda item 2, leaves of absence of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the leave of absence of personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Christenberry,
Second.
second from Mr. Johnson. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 3, retirement and resignation of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the retirement and resignations of personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
Motion by Ms. Colley,
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Lindsay.
Second.
second by Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Agenda item 4, rescission of termination of probationary classified personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve to rescind the termination of probationary classified personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
Yeah, have a motion from Ms. Lynch. Second from Ms. Colley. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 5, termination of temporary and/or probationary classified personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the termination of temporary and/or probationary classified personnel in accordance with Act Number 2011-270, Students First Act, as provided to board members under separate cover.
Do I hear a motion? Motion from Mr. Christenberry.
Second.
Second from Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 6, transfer intent to transfer personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the transfer intent to transfer personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Johnson. Second by Ms. Lindsay. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 7, employment of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the employment of personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
Motion from Ms. Colley, second from Mr. Christenberry. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 8, extra work for extended periods. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the extra work of personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
Motion by Ms. Lynch. Second by Ms. Colley. Any questions, discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Agenda item 9, 2020-2021 revised extra work wages. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the revised 2020-2021 extra work wages as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry, second by Ms. Colley. Any questions or discussion?
What is this? Is a teacher just a regular classroom teacher to take on?
The stipends, yes. Renee would.
I asked when I got here. Yeah, and I can explain that when I get down to the staff report. It has to do with a stipend or teachers turning in some lesson plans that we're going to use. Or if we have to go back to distance learning, we're going to pay them a stipend in order to have those banked. So I can go over that detail when I get
You
to that
ain't
part.
got to worry about all that. It'll be over in November.
It's hopefully getting some master teachers that can do the online stuff for everybody to look at. And,
even possibly summer school, we would be able to use the videos for some of our kids. We do not offer a summer school really now for our elementary, so this might be a way for us to do that.
And thank y'all for asking that, because we're still building this plane as we fly it. We're trying to figure it out because the State Department's not giving us much direction, until they swoop in at the last minute and then tell us how you need to conduct distance learning. So we're trying to figure this out.
Isn't this COVID money too?
John, yeah, CARE
Is
Act,
it
CARE
COVID
Act, yeah.
money?
Mhm. Yes. Mhm.
All right. If there isn't anything any further, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries.
That's all I have, Ms. Dawson. After that, we have staff reports. So.
All right, we'll move on to staff reports.
Hope if we could, let me have young Frank jump in and give y'all a quick update on our construction from north, south, east, and west.
Our Florence Mantis, we did what we were calling the final on Monday. There were a couple issues which we anticipated, one of them being the first responder radios did not work in the facilities along Belfast. We're having to add that, third parties coming in, put computers everywhere. That will be done by the 25th of this month. The other thing was the roof, on the metal roof. That entails the gym and the cafeteria. The problem was there's a third-party inspection, or actually it's a roof manufacturer. They would not allow their inspectors to come down out of state or travel overnight to do that inspection. And that's part of the closeout documents for any project in the state. So that was the main two issues, but the inspector did allow us to go ahead and start moving teachers to move in. The only thing is business as usual, we just can't occupy the student shift. So we're by the end of the month looking at the 25th. If the repeaters and everything are in, they punch that, the
Frank, once we get that final, then we can start setting up ribbon cuttings on that, so.
Bell Forest, we have an inspection on the 16th of this month on the wings A, B, C, and D. So we're working from the front going back. Those are the final inspections. That deals with fire alarm and everything dealing with the life safety. On the 30th of June is when we have our final. That means for the E and F, which is going to be the cafeteria, the gym, and then we do overall the whole school one last time. That's when we get this.
So we're looking at Ms. Lindsay possibly a ribbon cutting no later than the middle of July, hopefully, so.
And then on Orange Beach, we have an inspection on the 22nd of this month for cafeteria, and then we'll be on July 7th, we have an AD and then the E-wing just for the sprinkler stuff. That's important. We have to go through the whole sprinkler system, make sure the flow is right, and then you have to do the whole fire alarm. For example, we got there at 7:40 Monday, and I walked out there close to 3 o'clock, and that's just half of it. So this inspection is very thorough. We realize it takes a couple of days to break it down. And then on the 16th of July is when we have it set up for the final for Orange Beach. We try to get a little faster, but Mr. Williams' schedule fills up very fast, so when that happens, we have to not only work around his schedule, we also have to work around our engineers to get them there. There's several people that are involved in those.
And Don Williams is the state building inspector for our area, so we're looking at hopefully before the end of July, ribbon cutting.
Yes, sir. Fairhope East, when we separated that, we've got that little courtyard, and there's some drainage that need to be in there, and he wanted to wait so we can make sure the drainage was complete before we do a final. We're just waiting on a date from him in the next week or two to try to work that in to do a final. Punch list and everything's being done on the wing. We're looking at the middle of, I'm saying the middle of the third quarter of June on the gymnasium, wherever it may be.
Good.
Daphne Middle School, the walls are going up. As you, if you've driven by there, it's come on very well. JLR Newton, we haven't had a construction meeting yet. We're waiting on contracts. And then at Fairhope, Ninth Grade Academy, they're already mobilized. Site contractors been there. They've been taking down lights that are in the way, pole lights. We're working on some relocate transformers and stuff of that nature for power.
And where are we on the Daphne Ninth Grade Academy?
It's going to be the 1st of July.
Okay, all right. All right.
And then we have the site work at Stonebridge. That was awarded, and they've already, all the trees are gone, so they're moving dirt. Silk fence is going around the perimeter for erosion control, so we're well on our way with that. It's going to be in July also, but we're going to bid it along with Spanish Forest. We just want, whoever finishes first with the design and gets remarks back from the states who will bid first, simply because I can't bid everything at one time because the contractors of those high dollar projects are ones we pre-qualify for. So we need to give them opportunity to bid on both of those. If they get one, they can go a little harder for the other.
We've also board discussed Silver Hill and Loxley. We've had various discussions. John Wilson can jump in, Frank, Hope and Marty, any of us that, you know, we got Silver Hill antiquated, Loxley antiquated. Loxley got that portable. We're trying to consider what's the best route. Do we try to find some land between the two schools and bring them together, you know, or do we go to Silver Hill, you know, put those portables up, take it to the ground, rebuild? I mean, there's just so many factors there because, you know, finding land. I know a gentleman reached out to us, didn't he, John, this week about some land he wanted us to entertain, but he's reached out to us before, and I don't think his price was very good. Yeah, very top dollar. So,
What number, if that were to happen, what kind of student number
You talking
in a
about combining
population
Silver
of
Hill,
those schools?
in Loxley, they're not,
around 900.
yeah, max, somewhere around in there, yeah.
Smaller than, yeah, lots.
Loxley's over 500. Silver Hill's a little over 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it has blown up, yeah.
What we would do is, if we would do the same thing we've done at Baldwin, we've done at Stonebridge,
Right.
we've got Bell Forest, they're designed for 1,200 students.
Right.
We could step back if we felt like it was going, like if we had time, we could always step back and do the infrastructure for 1,200, student for 1,000, and we could always have one like we did before.
Right.
We could do it all at one
But that's in the near future. That's on our radar. I mean, something we know something needs to happen. And then I think you could look probably in the next 5 years, you're looking at something on 4-lane 59, not just a career tech academy, but a high school somewhere down there. So, you know, it's not stopping, you know. I had a gentleman reach out to me, or a lady reach out to me from Summerdale, saying, I can't believe these subdivisions that are going up, Mr. Tyler, can't you stop them? The growth is out of control.
I saw that.
Our schools are at risk.
Yeah.
And so I was nice when I emailed her back and said, thanks for sharing, but, you know, we've been down that road. You know, we've been to our legislators, and you know, so I would say talk to your legislators and your mayors, because that's who's holding us back, you know, from that, so.
Just need a voice at the table.
Well, many times
but-
when those people complain like that, it's because the lots are smaller, the houses are gonna be smaller, and it's gonna devalue those people's
Their
property,
property.
and they don't like it. So they're not really concerned about the schools as much as they're worried about themselves, but,
I got you.
you know, the infrastructure is, you know, a task when you grow as fast as we're growing.
Well, every place in Baldwin County is becoming attractive now. Every place, I don't care. North Baldwin, all the way east and west is becoming attractive. Perdita School is blossoming, you know, so, you know, folks are coming back from Atmore, coming back to Perdita schools. This problem's not going away. I think we're managing it well, and I appreciate y'all's confidence in us to navigate this this very, very difficult task of trying to control growth. But
I would say one thing on the performing arts and R&B's, the city did approve, so that partnership is moving forward with the process now, with the change that they approved. They want to do the dance studio on the backside, we want to do the additional black box on the backside, so they added 7,000 square feet to that facility. So we're in the process now, since we know what they wanted, that's been sent to the state approves it, they send it back and we can move forward. What we're doing now, we started at the north end of that performing arts, and we're working our way south, and that process is continuing. The ceiling height, the roof heights, nothing changed, so that's already been approved, so that's in work.
All right, when are they gonna, when you looking at taking down those, flat tops at Alberta?
Kind of scared. So the growth they have there, we got even a data about a lot, I think 150 houses possible. So I guess we can take them down, whatever, just everybody needs to understand, when we take them down, the solution to when we get growth, is we're gonna have to put back more.
Well, if they get a whole lot of growth there, that area where the school is right there is not gonna be able to hold, you're just not gonna be able to keep adding there.
No, we don't have, there's not
I
the
mean, you're
land.
gonna have to go somewhere else with another school in that area, and they building like crazy. I've never seen anything like it down there.
They are.
well, all these are on our radar. It's just,
And if the Summerdale property develops, as the email, you know, that you received discusses them, those children get out of elementary school, they'll be in Alberta High.
but somehow we need help from our legislators. Think of the impact fees if that was put on construction and new homes, what it would mean to Baldwin County. It might send a message to our developers and everybody else, but they're coming to Baldwin County, which is great, bring the families, but they're making money, they're laughing all the way to the bank, and we're having to try to figure out how to handle it, so,
And a
anyway.
large reason, or certainly part of the reason that they're all coming here is that we offer the whole package. Number one, the schools.
Quality
you
of
know,
life
and
and
then
a
the
great
quality
place
of
to raise a
life
family.
and, you know, everything else that people are looking for. But they're certainly not staying away because they're afraid of the schools.
Nothing
So-
slowed them down.
No.
The coronavirus, I mean, John Gray, what was his numbers he gave, John Wilson, about D.R. Horton and Trulin Homes, what they saw in,
73%
increase in home.
Increase in
Yeah.
homes.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
The reason I was asking Frank was because that
have
was gonna be
anything.
an area for the band to practice.
I
Now,
don't need it.
if we're not gonna tell them, do they have somewhere to
they're gonna have to be allowed to be on that football field.
Well, the football
In my
field
opinion.
are, I talked to Brent about, okay, here's the football field in front of that. There's an area there that they cut down some of those pine trees that they could practice there. It's green, it's usually where you use parking during
You know
football
it gives
season.
off oxygen?
Sir,
You know those trees give off oxygen?
well, yeah. But,
Only in Alberta.
land is very important too, so,
They can no longer practices on the west side, the east side.
somebody built a house and they wanted to.
And we didn't purchase the property.
Well, they had so many restrictions on it. I mean,
But they,
Yeah, they wanted-
They took off some of the restrictions.
Some.
But the prices still.
Some, yeah.
Some, but not all.
Yeah.
They wanted us to buy the property and then
And
tell
not
us
be
what
able
we
to
could
anything.
do with
Well,
it.
they did finally say we could build a tennis court.
Whatever direction y'all choose for us to go, we can have it in, that's not a problem.
You know, and we held on to them when we first started the high school wing because we knew we weren't going to be prepared to go south or east to build a high school at this time. There were so many other needs. So, yes, they're exploding, and we'll come back to the table and deal with it best we can. So, if the economy comes back and gets strong again, and you know, we'll see.
Won't we have the same problem if we tear down the flat tops and let the band use it for practice?
Where the flat top
Well,
move
Yeah,
those
yeah.
modulars.
if we tear down the flat tops, we need to bring in the modular buildings.
Right.
That's the easiest thing for us to do.
Well, I like it because it's all
Right, exactly
it's
right.
enclosed.
All enclosed together.
Can they not bust that band out to their fields where they play soccer and stuff? I mean, that's a terrible thing to say, but, I mean,
Well-
there's no place else. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I-
a
There's
Brandon
a
Bailey.
real-
decision.
Well, I know.
Hello.
Huh? I know.
Hello.
You have a brand paying practice facility, and that's where we ideally where we put
Yeah.
Just means it doesn't know how to mess with.
But it just buy you a little bit of time,
Yeah.
you know, but we didn't purchase that property because we were thinking we were going to demo the flat top there. And if we don't now, that blows. Mr. Mark knows, as old coaches sometimes, you know, coaches sometimes bands and they don't want to work together a lot of times, but this is special circumstances. My recommendation would be to Brandon Bailey that if we had to tear those flat tops down and bring in portables or modulars, that he's just going to have to share time for the band on the football field, you know.
Also, you know,
And you got a new football coach, I guarantee you, that would be receptive to that.
and also the Little League Park is just down the street. I mean, when I'm saying practice marching, you know, and there's no Little League, there's no t-ball, there's no softball, there's no anything. That's a huge.
It's a block, you walk a block, basically,
One
right?
block,
Yeah.
right.
They can go down.
That's true, that's true.
One of those things out in Alberta, if we do tear down the flat tops and you put modulars there, then if the high school students use that, they're gonna walk all the way across the campus to go to the west side of the other high school.
That would have to be figured out with administration about how we're going to do that, yeah. Well, thank you, Frank, for that update on our construction. Hope?
Mr. Child always says, don't tell me how to build a watch, tell me what time it is, but I'm afraid not to tell y'all how to build a watch. Okay. So the second, document on there, it says, elementary, continued countywide distance learning, and let me start with that one. We knew when we started distance learning, this is your second document, I think, in your attachments. We knew when we started, distance learning that the teacher instructional piece is what we were gonna be missing. But in the short time we had to turn around, Franklin had some instructional piece, very little, and it had an assessment that we could use. So it worked as best it could do. Moving forward, we immediately started planning again, and, Renee's team, we sat down and planned probably for 3 days and had posters up everywhere. And, looking at posting every standard from kindergarten through 6th grade, including art, music, everything, every standard that a teacher from kindergarten to 6th grade would have to teach. And then developing a bank of Google Classroom videos that master teachers would teach. And when we say a master teacher, it doesn't necessarily have to be a master teacher level. We're looking for someone who would include events, who would include STEM, who would include guided reading strategies, depending on what the standard was. So we started looking at that way, but it would be exemplar lessons. It would be, lessons that would be of high quality. So then we realized also, the thing we had learned from distance learning was that we didn't have a common platform. Some people were using Moodle, some people were using Seesaw, some people were using Google Classroom, some people were using. So at that time, we knew that we were going to have to say, okay, Google Classroom is going to be the county format for K-6. We worked with Jeremy to start looking at training. Jeremy has already sent out to the principals and teachers numerous times this summer that they can be Google Classroom trained. They can do it online, they can stay at the beach, they can go to the lake, they can sit on the couch and do the Google training and get their flex time. Or if they don't learn best that way, they can do face-to-face. Either way, our goal is to have any teacher that does not feel like she is proficient, he or she proficient in Google Classroom, trained before school starts. Should they choose not to take advantage of that time, we will then offer it again once they're on contract. And so it might not be as a convenient time as during the summer, but we will offer it again when they're back on contract so that we can, like I said, have everybody trained in Google Classroom. So once we would collect, we gave it to the principals and said, and there's a very detailed lesson plan that they would have to follow. And we said, these really great teachers on your campus who did well during this distance learning time, that didn't miss a beat, they just kept right on going because they were already using this platform. Offer this to them. If we have somebody that says, okay, well, I see this college principal gave it to her, well, if they would like to do it, that's fine. We're not going to reject any, but we are going to have a committee to vet these videos. Like I said, to make sure that the quality is what we want. If they're selected, that's where on that $50 stipend, we're going to offer a $50 stipend for any video that was selected by the committee to go in for our bank. So hopefully, when we roll this out, by the end of this week, we will have a good start when school starts of a bank of videos, or hopefully the first 6 weeks of school that covers all the standards. Should we have to go back to distance learning, that we would be able to say, here's this, you watch this, because that's what Freckle was to begin with. Freckle was what's next. They were supposed to listen to this teacher, give the instruction of the standard, go through her lesson, then they were to go to Freckle, do those activities, and take the assessment. Along with that, there would be another step, but for right now, that's what we were talking about on the distance plan, to start collecting these, a library of videos. As they were just talking about, if you've got a teacher struggling, we can use that for professional development. Here's somebody teaching this standard in your grade level. Let's sit down and watch it. We can use professional development. About possibly using it for summer school. We don't have elementary summer school. Some kids fail by this much, the skin of their teeth. Do they really need to stay back? So say it's math. You watch these standards in math, you come in and take an assessment, and you may be able to go on to the next grade level. So we saw a lot of potential in being able to use this bank of standards. From there, we started thinking about Dr. Mackey's, and we knew at that time, more than likely, he was going to say that we needed to offer some kind of virtual option for elementary school. We hope, we hope that he allows us.
While she's looking for that, in one of Dr. Mackey's conferences that was an hour and 40 minutes long, and we're hearing the same thing, he referenced comments by parents making calls to the State Department of Education. I'm not really sure I want to send my child back to brick and mortar. Will you be offering distance learning? And his answer was yes, because through the CARES Act money that the state's going to get, he said they're going to devote a large amount of that to curriculum-based opportunities that school systems can feed into or pull from. But he didn't say that a system would have to jump on board. It's not a vendor coming in doing virtual school, distance learning. He still is going to allow, from my last listening to him, any system to do their own thing. They've been very good about that, because I don't think he wants to say all 138 systems will do this, because, folks, you got systems who are so rural, they're not going to be able to do what Jefferson County's doing or Madison City's doing or Baldwin County's doing. You know, it's just not possible. So that's where that flexibility comes in. So go ahead, Hope.
So, and the other thing that we had thought about was the internet was such an issue. With students who didn't have internet. Even some of my Wi-Fi's up in the North Baldwin area, if you don't have reception, you don't have reception. It doesn't matter what you have. So we had purchased ahead of time, Homer, the little jump drives. And so if you didn't have internet, you would be able to, we would be able to download these videos on that, and all they'd have to do is pop it in, and they wouldn't have to have internet. So we were trying to think of a solution for that. But from there, then we started thinking about a possible virtual situation. And you could see on that first attachment. And of course, the purpose would be to accommodate students who cannot or elect to not return to regular school because of underlying conditions, or someone in their family's health is compromised, but to be able to provide that same curriculum that you would be getting in the classroom. It's Baldwin County Basic Guide, it's the standards that we follow, but it's a master teacher who is teaching it and presenting that lesson. But it would be, we even branched out and said, we have several students who are homebound, and the services that they receive are really not what they need to, so we can even branch that into homebound students. Like I said, it would be provided through Google Classroom at no charge, utilizing the same curriculum that if you were sitting in Elbert Elementary and you were sitting at your house, it would be the same curriculum, and it would be supported by the curriculum team. We looked at what we would possibly need as far as personnel, depending on, obviously it would depend on the number of people who responded, but we felt like we could do it with one lead 10-month teacher. That would be a person who would really just keep it all going together, making sure the students are getting what they need. 3 general education teachers, and what we would like to do, it wouldn't be a steadfast requirement, but now a lot of the certifications are that dual. They have general ed and special ed certifications, so therefore they can serve both populations of students. You wouldn't have to have as many teachers, but possibly 3 with that dual certification. A secretary, and we really feel like that could get us started. We feel like we would be able to do this with that bank of videos that we had in August if needed. If we, Dr. Mackey says we have to offer a version, we feel pretty strongly that we could do that. We talked about potential places. We talked about repurposing that Orange Beach module that's going to be moved, that's right up against the elementary school. I guess the middle school is housing, and moving that behind the parking lot from the virtual school now.
We wouldn't have enough room in the virtual school building that we have now.
Well,
Place is huge.
Yeah, according
Not
to
sure.
Holly, I don't think so. But, Pelican Hall would definitely be a common area that we could use. And here again, I think it's really would depend on, we don't have any idea of how many people would be interested in this.
Well,
we've got a couple
I can tell you the people I've heard mention about this, and you remember how they used to, they don't do it now, on TV shows, they did beep, beep, they say, they're talking about maybe doing this virtual again, and they like, oh, bleep, 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 bleep.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna have that many, because
We don't have an idea, but I think.
a lot of these kids struggle with that stuff. They can't do the virtual.
And that's where those teachers would come in, those dual certifications, just like at the regular virtual school, they would have days they could come in and have tutoring, to be able to.
Well, one big fear is, and John may have talked about it a little bit, is our parent population, if they get the impression that whatever the State Department is rolling out as virtual school distance learning, that they're going to think, well, that's what they need to attach to, and then we lose the opportunity to gain, those students for ADM and then future teacher units. So we've got to do some heavy marketing, but we feel like that if we don't get out in front of this, parents who make the choice to go virtual might think that the state is the way to go and we don't pick them up. John, is that fair to say what we're talking about?
Yes, sir. I mean, the state currently has an RFP for a virtual school service provider, and that provider would be paid per student. So it's my assumption that they take the money from Baldwin County, they pay whoever got the state bid, and so we want to make sure we avoid any confusion and everyone understands that there's a lot of benefits with Baldwin County specific virtual school as opposed to
I love what you mentioned. You said the report card showed all the other virtual school vendors failing grades, and our virtual school an A. So the only one in the state.
Who graded that?
Well, it hasn't been submitted yet, so I believe this week it's
Talking about the RFP?
Yeah,
I don't know,
I mean, the state line is reading.
they're the ones that sends it out.
They've
Yeah,
already
yeah.
sent it out.
Yeah.
So we collected this week, and so they'll review it. I assume it goes to one of the
Crazy.
for-profit vendors
Yes.
K-12, Connect Academy, all those places.
Like the charter
The
school
charter
thing
schools.
over in
Washington County.
Washington County from Texas.
One of our main concerns
That's just
also
money.
is the ADM part, but we won't control what we're teaching
Yeah.
them. We have to know that they're hitting the state standards and that we have teachers that are proficient to do that and not be at the mercy of whoever this vendor hires, but yet it comes back on us for state testing.
Well, I'm all for it, you know, you setting up the curriculum, you know, I just don't think we're gonna have as many as we think we're gonna have if we wanna go, because,
We gotta be ready though, we gotta be.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying don't do it.
Yeah.
I will tell you, there are a lot of mamas on social media asking about, what are y'all gonna do, what are we gonna do, because I don't feel comfortable, and what are we gonna do? I've had some parents reach out to us that already know that we are looking at expanding our virtual school.
And then they come to us, those homeschoolers come to us. So it's just good.
So keep in mind, this will also be, and we all hope that this doesn't happen again, where we get 3 weeks into school and they say, hey, go home tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the thing that
Right.
concerns us too.
This can also be the plan, that every teacher will be ready the next day to start with the videos. And we're also working on a secondary plan that I will be updating you in the next few days, that we will also be presenting to you so that we will be ready for whatever.
Right, and the only thought about the virtual school is, like Renee was just saying, if we have 7th through 12th graders, if that, if we have children that age and parents are saying, no, we want to go to virtual, what is that going to do to her capacity? Would we have room for both? So here again, it's a wait and see. It's, if we need to, I guess the next step is to decide how we're going to do the PR and how we're going to roll out registration to see if it's, it would be worth it.
What did we wind up with numbers in our virtual school before we shut down?
Three something?
It's high,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many videos are we talking to have a 6-week bank?
It's a lot, but a classroom teacher, when you think about what an elementary teacher does in a day, she's got those lesson plans to do a whole day. It's not like we talked about, that's a whole different piece with secondary.
Oh, yes, oh, entirely, entirely.
To have, we talked to our art and Plunkett, to have those art and music videos, an art teacher or a music teacher or a PE teacher doing that. So we would be able to cover. We knew that going into this year, it was not going to be like last year. State Department said, here are your focus standards. And thank goodness we were March and not October, November, December. Our pacing guides are such that we're almost finished with all our standards by the time we get ready to do state testing. So we were very lucky at that point. But we knew going in, they were not going to say just focus standards. You're going to have to cover everything.
Every standard.
So that's why we're saying we're going to try to start right now. If there's gaps, that would be one of the things that these teachers that we're talking about at the virtual school would have to fill in the gaps. They would have to be proficient in Google Classroom and master teachers and be able to do those videos. So, we're going to see what we get. will continue through the school year, but then these teachers would also be responsible for filling the gap of video and lessons and having them for those students at home, along with being there to tutor them during the day. Should they need tutoring? Elementary kids are gonna need that, you know, this is their, but it goes back to that parent. And that's, I think, the conversation that we had with two feeder pattern meetings today. It came down to the parents that, okay, if you were in school, the parents who were attentive and helped their child, or the parents who were attentive and helped their child through distance learning. The parents, you can't ever get on the phone, and the kids don't ever complete assignments when you're in the building with the same kids, didn't complete assignments, and you couldn't get the parents to respond. So it's really, that's, you know, so the parents
Hard to believe.
that are gonna choose for elementary to do virtual school, hopefully will be the ones that were
Pay
active,
attention,
did participate, and feel like they can handle it. You're right, there was a bunch of them that said, oh my gosh.
Oh, they
you know,
freaked
I'm
out.
Yeah.
ready to come
They
back,
couldn't keep it all.
you know, get out of this, and so it will just be.
The funniest one I saw that on the post that said where a mother said, I hope my kids have a different teacher next year. I thought,
Their kids probably do too.
now you know. Yeah,
Well,
probably.
when are they gonna start this? If they're not reading on grade level by third grade, they stay in third grade.
Well, we start that next year.
Next year.
The Alabama Literacy Act, we will be responsible as the group that's in first grade right now. By the time they get in third grade, will be the group that will be assessed.
Can I ask a question about the portable you're talking about? Where is Orange Beach Elementary space-wise? The last, well, the last conversation I had, he was pushing boundaries, and so I'm thinking, would that be something that you'd move, knowing he is, he says no?
Yes, that. Maybe keep the other one.
Walking across the
Across the
street, you
street.
can't do that. No, that's why I was thinking that particular.
Down there, they can have
I'm sure, but that particular portable, if he is, if he, and I don't know what he says, but teachers say they're out of space. So.
We talked about, I think the city wanted to keep them across the street.
Correct.
So if they do that, we cannot, I mean, either way, we can have them shipped in. If we have. If
Well, I'm just thinking we pay to move it and then we pay to bring it back. I mean, that's. So if his numbers, okay, well, as long as he's,
Well, and we could, like I said, follow up back up with that. And,
But Ms. Norma, you know, and I know it probably not going to surprise anybody, what you're hearing from teachers is what teachers would really like for it to be, and what you're hearing from administration is what they're trying to do to make it work.
Right.
So,
well, I
you
mean,
know,
I've walked through, I know what's empty and what's not, but, I also know his growth is
we'll
there.
keep our finger on that and see what happens.
And this is not going to take place until, we would move this until after July 16th. Two
Okay.
things have to happen. We've got to move everything out from middle school to the new school, and we've got to coordinate when the company can come move it. And I'm sure they're way behind.
Yeah.
But they're out of Georgia.
Okay.
By that time, we should have registration numbers together.
They want to open two, 4 seats.
So the expense for this program basically is $50 per, but we don't have any idea how many that's going to be.
we just have to see how good teachers, that's something they jump on, you know? Like I said, a lot of teachers already do this, so I think it's gonna be easy for a lot of them, and they're gonna see that as, you know, something. And then the, 4 teachers, the 1 10-month lead teacher, and then 3 general ed and a secretary, and then they would need some office supplies and things like that. Yeah, if they're not dual certified, we'd have to have a special education teacher.
Is that CARE Act money or is that?
I don't know if the CARE Act exists, but.
It's my understanding, that this is in direct relation to distance learning, and so it does qualify for CARE Act dollars. I'm probably going to allocate maybe $250,000, $300,000 for this program, and we'll kind of see where we go. And that's probably 6,000, 7,000 lessons there.
Yeah, because when you're talking about doing a video for every standard, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, it's a lot.
It's going to be a year-long process. It's going to start with the first quarter this summer. At least have first quarter bill. If
as you go.
So first quarter, some of our teachers will be recording the second quarter.
I hope you want to go on to that second page.
Well, we started with the second one.
Oh, you did? Okay, okay,
Oh, so you third?
okay. And board, what we've started, we were going to do it Monday, but I told people don't come Monday. We didn't know what the weather was going to be like. We had 2 feeder patterns today. We have 2 tomorrow, and we're rescheduling 2 for either Thursday afternoon. We're bringing the principals and their APs and any curriculum leaders or counselors to this building, and we separated everybody. And it was great information that they shared with us about all the positives, but then also we asked, what are the negatives? What didn't work so well? Give us your idea about, you know, as we move forward in August, what you would like or think would need to happen. So we're getting input from everybody at the school level. We've got to be prepared. I was telling our principals, and we'll tell them tomorrow and the next day, we need to be ready sometime after the 4th of July, sometime after that, because the media continues to ask for interviews about what's next year look like. You know, what is it going to be, distance learning? Is it going to be blended? Is it going to be brick and mortar? They want to know that. Well, I know the parents want to know that too, because on a daily basis I'm getting some emails from parents about that, and I understand it. But we're gonna have a lot coming at us after the 4th of July, so we're hoping that we have a working template of what really looks good that we can show y'all, and then we can push out and get ready and make sure that everybody's on the same page. I told all of our folks today, and I'll tell them tomorrow and the next day, they were very complimentary about how all of a sudden this just got started in the dead of night. I mean, it's almost like it was just, you know, if you remember the old Baltimore Colts, they went in there and moved them out in the dead of night to Indianapolis, and you know, nobody ever saw the tractor trailers coming, and they were just gone. So, but you know, in the dead of night, it happened, and we had to adapt. So I asked my principal, I said, just think if we just said, okay, as a central office, we're going to let you develop it all. You develop it all. Develop everything. Special ed, extracurricular activities, you know, how are you going to deal with parents when there's failures? You just handle it all. Because a lot of their questions we're already working on. But they really appreciated the monumental task and feat. And I know you do as a board, because you want excellent, you don't want any hiccups, you don't want this to, you know, to all of a sudden put the ox in the ditch. But your patience has been very well, it's been thankful and well thought out that you've allowed us to make some mistakes, regroup, try to correct those mistakes, and continue to move forward. This is unprecedented. And if we want to keep the same level of excellence in Baldwin County schools, the 3rd largest in the state, which some people talk to people sometimes and say, well, how's it going in that county city school of yours? You know, because or private school of yours at Baldwin County. Well, hey, let's beat our chest and say, yeah, that's right, we're the best of the best. But I need your patience. You know, this is a difficult thing. People are working overtime, and we're going to have something of quality for sure. So I just wanted to mention that. So anything else you have for us on distance learning, where we are, construction, anything of that nature?
Could you talk just a little bit about the jump drives for the kids who don't have that access?
You know what I'm talking about, little things that just stick on the side, we would just download the videos on them, and I don't know how many they hold, but we could even mail those, you know, when they need another one, we mail it, and they just put it in. It's
Will
not
the
like
assessments they'll fill that out, go onto the jump drive, and that'll be sent back?
we could do that either way, yeah, if they have, you know, if they don't have email or something, yeah, we could definitely do that, send the drive back, and we'll send them another one, yeah.
Of course,
We know we've got to work around this internet. We can't depend on the they're not Wi-Fi's or whatever. And even people who had internet, they just got tired. You know, they were like, just give me a workbook, just give me a workbook. So, yeah, but we know that we can't depend on just internet.
And I'm getting questions daily about when are you going to start school? You know, I might have sent y'all something. We're hearing all kind of rumors. You're going to start after Labor Day. So I happened to ask that person, I said, you don't have to tell me the teacher that told you we were going to start after Labor Day, but where are they getting their information? Certainly not from me. You know, so parents are antsy. They're wanting to know. They're wanting answers. Right now, board, unless you come to me and say, would you consider revisiting the calendar, because it would have to be a board decision, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tiffany, but teachers' first day back is the 3rd. We were going to have Institute on the 7th. Well, that ship sailed. We're going to do something for Institute. And then students' first day is the 12th. So I would like to stay with our current calendar. I think everybody, if they can, wants to get started as soon as possible. You know, so unless you think about this and you want me to reconsider, yeah, we're just staying on track, even with distance learning. All Dr. Mackey has encouraged is maybe mid or late August, but he said, please understand, I'm not dictating to LEAs when to start. You know, so just for y'all's consideration. So
I think we're full speed ahead like we go.
I agree.
I think so too.
I agree.
Quicker the
I think
better.
we've had enough interruption and enough, you know.
Extracurriculars are already back out in our buildings.
Yeah, the kids that really want to go back, or especially athletes, they want to go to school. They're ready to go.
Well, and one last thing, we had a demonstration yesterday on thermal cameras, and it was amazing, some of the technology you can only imagine, to where a thermal camera can take the temperature in a second, every second of 20, 30 people moving into a building. They can identify their temperature right there. They can identify who it is. So we've got it. We're still trying to figure it out. Naturally, we can't just have, you know, say at Foley High School, 1,650 kids with a thermal thermometer handheld and check their temperature every time they come in. You know, so we're trying to look at ways. We've talked to John about this, Wilson. I mean, you know, he feels like, again, if we did go down this road, CARE Act money could help with this. Advancement technology funds, you know, and these are amazing cameras, you know, but naturally it would be stationed, because when our schools open up, there's still going to be a point of entry. You know, we're just not going to, of course, all our doors stay locked anyway, but we're not going to have people exiting everywhere. There's got to be that point of entry. If athletes come in the morning to work out, guess what? They got to go through a point of entry, and they go on through, get on back, go to their field house, and they're good or whatever. So we're looking at all those options, board. We really are. So with that being said, for your consideration, next week would normally be the 3rd Tuesday and the 3rd Thursday. And Louise, correct me if I get off track here. Right, next week would normally be the 3rd. You know, and we do, you know, usually we've changed it because during that week there's a class conference that a lot of folks go to. There's the AASB conference that is always held because they ended on Father's Day. And then the superintendent conference starts on Father's Day, and they're all right there together. Well, all that's, well, I just learned superintendent conference hadn't been canceled, but all the others have been canceled.
They just didn't invite.
So, that's right. I had found out from a vendor today that, can I take you to dinner at your superintendent conference at the Grand Hotel? I said, sir, with all due respect, it's been canceled. He said, no, it's not. It's June the 21st and 24th at the Grand Hotel. And I've seen nothing, you know, so, but, you know, I've been asleep at the wheel before too, I guess, so I apologize. But my point is, it's going to be a little bit tough for Louise to try to get agenda items and everything ready for a work session next Tuesday and then the board meeting on Thursday. Would you be receptive to a Thursday week work session board meeting?
Just leave it.
Huh?
Just leave it. If it's
you know, if
it's going to create a hassle.
It's not a problem, I just can't get it done this Friday with a car renting.
And then just have one meeting
Just have a
as opposed
joint,
to.
a joint work
on
session, board meeting on
Next Thursday would be the 18th, I think.
18th.
Yes, the only difference is you put your agenda this Friday, you'll be next Monday.
Tiffany says it'd be time for amendments or agenda items. So.
All right, we were scheduled for the week after, weren't we? The
Right,
25th,
we
and
were.
That's what I thought.
that's what I had on my schedule.
Right. And the reason we did that because we moved it early on because of all the conferences that were going to take place next week that have been canceled. So I didn't know,
So I guess the question is whether or not, now that all that's been canceled, do we want to move it back to its original day, or do we want
and
to leave it where it is?
that's y'all's call. That's
I
y'all's
just
call.
soon leave it where it is, where we have it. That'd give human resources time to
Leave it
help
where
put
it
some more
is.
people. And what?
Ours.
It doesn't
Right.
matter. Leave it where
Yeah.
it is, and then they'll have an
Yeah,
extra
normally-
week.
Well, we'll leave it.
Leave it.
Leave
but-
it.
All right, we'll leave it.
We'll go ahead and leave it.
We'll just
So,
leave it.
Louise, stand down.
When is it?
What time,
You
where,
can, you
when?
can have one anytime.
And don't be late.
The work session,
Don't forget,
Louise,
Tony will
on,
have to fill in for you
the work session is
if I'm late.
23rd.
here. The work session is here on the 23rd. Board meetings in Bay Minette. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. You sent what? Oh, yeah, well, right now, 23rd and 25th, and then Chaz will send you a reminder, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I know we have media here. Of course, I always want to thank Nicole and Jesse for being here, our AA representatives, that we appreciate y'all's partnership, and y'all have a difficult job too, not only trying to know what's best for children, but serve your members. That's a difficult to spin those plates, and we appreciate your partnership. And Jesse, you coming over from Mobile County and becoming part of the Baldwin County family. You've died and gone to heaven and all that stuff. And that's a good
Land
one.
of milk and honey, same
Not that
thing.
we don't have issues, but they're good. We appreciate them. But any media
Do you
questions?
have any media questions, guys, here with, all right.
Scotty, you have anything for the good of the group? Okay. Terry, it's good to see you.
That was, boy, my closing comment was, I am so glad to be back in a room with all of your beautiful faces, not on a little screen.
Terry, it's good to see you, and with the foundation, Mr. Stewart, thank you for showing up, just taking an interest. Hayward, thank you for being here. Go out and eat some good seafood. Well,
If we
that's all I
have
have.
nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, wait. Oh, we have single, okay. I was going to
Motion
say.
and second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye? Aye. All right, adjourn.
You're going to need 4 signatures, I think, so.
Go ahead.